Yeah, I would say that honestly, the brain fog, the energy, the tiredness, those are the big ones that people will say, like you said, they'll say it's normal. The problem is they confuse normal with common. And just
Thank
because
you.
something is common does not mean it's normal. We have to understand that. It's so unfortunate. Another one, so I'm going to tangent a little bit on this one. Another one is when people say when they're older, they're in their 70s or their 80s, and they start getting all these diagnoses with different stuff. High blood pressure. I had a little heart thing. I had, I'm forgetting more, whatever. And they're like, oh, it's just the age. No, getting old does not mean you get sicker. That's not how it works. We're supposed to just die of natural causes eventually, and that's it. We're not supposed to die from the heart. We're not supposed to be taking 10 pills just because we're 70, right? It's getting old does not mean getting sicker. It just means maybe you might get a little more tired. Your body's getting a little exhausted. That's okay. You've lived a long life, but to have to take these pills and all that. So there's things like that I think of because it's happening at a younger age now. I know 30-year-olds that are taking so many medications and they'll joke like, "Oh, I feel like I'm old, like an 80-year-old with all these meds." I'm like, "Don't joke about that.
Not funny.
Like get off those meds, stop paying for those meds, pay for somebody to help you learn how to eat, and heal with food." And that was Hippocrates' big thing, right? Food is thy let food be thy medicine. Whatever happened to that in the medical industry? It's non-existent.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I could not agree more. That drives me bananas when people say it's dad bod or I'm just achy, and it's like it's normal. It's not normal. You're right. It's common. It's not normal. It's uncommon to be really healthy and enjoy your life and move around and thrive until you drop dead at 90. I mean, even the concept of like retirement, that wasn't even a thing like a few decades ago. Like you just work and do what you were put on this earth to do and serve other people. And you can do that for a very, very long time. And it's like, just because we have this medical model where we can keep you alive for a really long time, taking all of these medications and being very, very sick, like that's going to generate a lot of money for that industry. That's just is what it is.
yeah, exactly. And I just thought of something when you mentioned with the retirement. I tend to wonder if people didn't retire as soon, depending on their job. Obviously, a lot of people have sedentary jobs. They're sitting 8 to 5 or whatever. But when you retire, most likely you're not going to move around as much. Most likely you'll be going out to eat more often, and indulging in all these other things. So I wonder how much even something as simple as that can play a role in someone's health and well-being.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think one of my favorite parts about looking at, blue zones around the world is not necessarily looking at what they're eating, but more looking at their level of connection and how, older people are part of the community. They're still cooking food and serving people, getting up to 80, 90, 100 years old. Maybe that's what they do. And that's such a cool thought, I guess, that is really lost on us, living in this way here in America in 2022. Like it's not common. It's like you said. Yeah.
If you go to any of the tribes, you go to the Inuits, you go to the Maasai or whatever, they're not like, oh, I'm 65 years old. It's time for me not to contribute to my community anymore. They're still working. They work, like you say, until the younger have to take care of them, which is probably, I don't study them enough, so I don't know their ages, but I'm probably pretty sure it's beyond 65 years old. So
yeah, absolutely. I've heard some crazy stories of people going to those tribes, and it's hard to determine when people were actually born, but people claiming well over 100, like 120 years old, 130 years old, like weird, crazy old people, healthy, dancing, like doing all kinds of great stuff that you would never see that around here. So crazy.
I wouldn't doubt that, actually. I wouldn't doubt it at all.
I wouldn't either.
You don't see like cancer plaguing them. You don't see all the, with us, it's like 1 in 3 people have hypothyroid, or what is it? It's 88% of America is metabolically unhealthy, like metabolic syndrome. You don't see that in those tribes.
That's right. And sadly, here in the next few generations, you probably will. Like that tribe that we can study, it's probably not going to be for very much longer that we can, because we keep pushing into them and they keep eating more industrialized food like everybody else. So sad.
Hope not. I hope at least there'll be some so future generations can see as well. So
yeah, I hope so too.